Thank you, Mr. Chairman. I don't want to put too fine a point on this, but as usual, Senator Blumenthal raises very good questions, so let's clear the air here. Raise your hand if you believe that racially separate but equal schools are moral in America. Raise your hand.
I think we're hoping to answer individually, but obviously very much against segregation.
Okay, I don't see anybody raising their hand, okay? Can we agree that you all believe that racially separate but supposedly equal schools are immoral and illegal?
Yes.
Yes?
Yes,
everybody? Okay, well, let's get back to the substance here. Professor Novak.
I'm part-time.
That counts.
Okay.
Do you think, does our Constitution contain unenumerated rights?
Sure.
Give me an example.
Well, I think natural right. I mean, the whole Ninth Amendment is designed to ensure that the
Right,
Bill of
but
Rights.
give me a specific unenumerated right that if you read the Constitution, it wouldn't be listed, but it's there.
Well, off the top of my head, in this setting, being a little nervous, I'm kind of reaching for something. But
Okay.
I mean, look, just life and perhaps privacy, those type of things.
Okay. Privacy is a good example. It's a penumbra.
Right.
What test should we use? I mean, if you read the Constitution, you're not going to find the word privacy. There's language about unreasonable searches and seizures, but it doesn't say you have a right to privacy. Sure. Disclosural, privacy, autonomy, any kind of privacy. It doesn't say it, right?
Yes.
Okay, so that's what I mean by unenumerated. What test should we use to determine whether the Constitution has a right that it's there, but we just can't see it?
Well, I think you used the plain meaning of the Constitution at the time.
Yeah, but if it's not there, the plain meaning doesn't help you.
Well, I can't think of a particular test right now. I'm actually regretting I was an adjunct professor right now, but
That's okay.
I can't think of a particular test that I could
Right.
that would
Professor,
point to. I would look at.
What test do you think we ought to use?
Well, Senator, first and foremost, I would follow Supreme Court precedent and 11th Circuit precedent.
I know you would, but what test? Let's suppose you got a case of first impression. What test should we use?
Well, I don't know if it is a test per se, but in the absence of explicit language in the text of the Constitution, I would look at what the framers at the time were, their intent on what was sort of inherent natural rights.
What if there's nothing there? The framers didn't talk about it.
Well, I would look to precedent on how penumbral rights have been analyzed in other contexts to try to mirror how the analytical framework was utilized in those contexts with the current issue before.
Madam Justice, what test do you think we should use to determine whether there are unenumerated rights in the Constitution?
I agree with my counsel. I think that if there is no case law in Supreme Court or in the Fifth Circuit, that I'm looking in other circuits for analogous
Well, what if there aren't any?
analysis.
What if it's a case of first impression? I'm just asking your philosophy of law. We know that there are rights that we have as Americans that aren't expressly articulated in the Constitution. Emphasized expressly. Doesn't mean they're not there. They're there. The Supreme Court has said they're there. And I'm just asking, what's the test? You're going to have cases like this to determine whether a right's there or not. Counselor?
Senator, I think it's actually, with respect, very unlikely that a question about fundamental right would ever arise in the Court of Federal Claims. But that said, I believe the applicable test comes from a case called Glucksberg, where the Supreme Court said we look to whether a particular right is deeply rooted in a nation's history. And I understand there are cases that have departed from that or perhaps didn't apply it, but in general, that seems to be the governing test.
Okay. All right. I don't have much time here left. I'm going to land the plane on time. Thank you.
Thanks,
Congratulations to all of you.